This is first edition or the first episode of, should I say, new concept, but basically this is it's still about financial independence, financial literacy, and all that, but it's less about numbers, about business, about economics, and more personal, spiritual, emotional development. But obviously, a lot of it is tied to how well business is doing, how well personal finances are doing. But basically, I'm not venting, but a lot of these thoughts aren't perfectly thought out through. So I am going through a lot of these like with you guys, whoever's watching, right? I'm going through this with you, and this is me trying to get to the next level of my own personal thinking as it relates to how I view myself and how I view the world, and how I view how I relate to the world, and I guess how the world relates to me. Um, the theme, I don't know if it's going to be the running theme for all the episodes, but the theme for today, at least, and probably the next episode, is faith is the highest form. Faith is the purest form of confidence. Faith is the purest form of confidence. Faith is the highest form and the purest form of confidence. That is the underlying theme throughout all these episodes for this specific section. I mean, I have the financial literacy stuff. I have the stuff that I do in the streets. I have the stock updates. Um, you know, so I have like already a few different. I have the stuff that I'm doing with the agricultural economist. So there's already like a few different shows, if you want to call it that, on this channel, and this is just one of them. So yeah, street side hustle, right? So there's financial independency episodes on financial literacy. There's the street side hustle of the stuff that I do on the streets day to day. There's the stock updates. There's the stuff with the agricultural economist, and now there's this faith is the purest form of confidence. And the reason I needed to get to the reason I'm even just doing this, or I felt like I needed to talk about this, is because as I become more um, just look, a poor man doesn't think or speak like a rich man, right? A rich man doesn't think or speak like a wealthy man. A wealthy man probably doesn't think or speak like a king, and what's a king to a god, right? So if I'm ever going to evolve, move up, grow, move on to the next level of myself personally as a king, as a god, I need to then start thinking and speaking like a king and start thinking and speaking like a god. And this is ultimately where this comes from, right? So the the theme on today's episode is I hate my life, right? But I need to say this, right? As I grow up and as I evolve, I realize that I need to speak better to myself and I need to think better about myself. I mean, look, if you have a scarcity mentality, if you have a scarcity mentality and you do not get to the point of evolving to abundance. I mean, yes, I was in survival mode, so it makes sense why I have a scarcity mentality. Probably since 2019, right? I've been in survival mode since lockdown, right? And if I have to leave survival mode, if I'm getting out of survival mode, then I stop thinking like I'm in survival mode, so that I do not starve in an oasis. So I do not go to the Garden of Eden and still starve, right? Or kind of die of thirst next to a well. You know what I'm saying? Because of my thinking and because of how I approach things and because of my understanding of how I relate to the world and how the world relates to me. So I need to grow up and evolve to the next level and, stop hating my stop hating my life so much because my life was very survival based. So I need to stop hating my life so much and acknowledge some of the gifts that I'm receiving, acknowledge some of the progress that my hard work has done, and therefore I can you get stuck in survival and scarcity thinking so much that you do not even realize when some of your prayers are answered, right? You not even recognize a lot of the blessings around you. So I think I'm in that space right now where I can acknowledge that because of my thinking, because of how I'm approaching things, I I kind of lost, or I sometimes not recognize when some of my prayers were answered, and kind of you know yeah, I do not recognize when some of my prayers were answered. I do not recognize some the gifts that I got, and I would lose them, right? I would lose the same things that I prayed for. I would lose the same gifts that I received because I did not recognize I had them because I was still thinking in a kind of mentality of scarcity. So these episodes, like I said, it's not me venting, but it's me thinking out these things with anybody who's watching, and hope that somebody can relate and we can eventually like find some of these answers of the questions that I'm asking. But where I'm getting to personally is that I'm evolving or developing a certain level of faith. Why faith is the purest form of confidence. I'm developing a certain level of faith. I want to develop a certain level of faith that is kind of not tied to religion. I do not outwardly practice any religion, even though I identify as Rastafari, which vis-a-vis kind of identifies as Christian, but I do not outwardly practice any religion. And I recognize that sometimes the reason I do not acknowledge when my prayers are answered, the reason I do not acknowledge when I'm receiving gifts and I waste them and I abuse them, is because I do not have faith that some of my prayers will be answered. I mean, I not. Sometimes I'm lacking faith even in the own work of my hands and the ideas that come from my mind, and that leads to procrastination, that leads to self sabotage, of business relationship, personal relationships, and things like that. So I'm trying to evolve and learn a certain level of faith in myself, a certain level of faith in the work that I do, a certain level of faith in the ideas that I come up with, a certain level of faith in the people that I choose to surround myself with, right? A certain level of faith in the people that I love, just so that I can acknowledge them and see them, appreciate them, and treat them a lot better. Treat myself a lot better and acknowledge myself a lot better, and you know, see myself more, because sometimes, especially with the work that I do specifically, and that's the unfortunate thing, right? I'm here where I am in my life because of a lot of my own choices and, yes, actions by other people. But I can acknowledge where my own decisions, where my own actions, where my own choices led me to where I'm at. So I'm a street walker. I wake up every day, set up a table, and sell in the streets. And that, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree. So that a lot of people cannot understand that, right? A lot of people cannot, street walking is not, it's not fancy, right? And I don't necessarily make a lot of money also. So it's like, oh, but you got a degree. Why don't you go look for a job? Blah, 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 right? Why are you an entrepreneur? Even if you are an entrepreneur, why are you, I'm not going to say low class entrepreneur, but selling in the streets seems kind of low class. And all of that does have an effect on sometimes how I view myself, how I view my work, and just me acknowledging whether or not I'm progressing. And that's because of the outward signals that I'm getting, and I'm not recognizing the inward signals and the day-to-day signals of the work that I'm doing. So my lack of faith in myself, my lack of faith in the work that I'm doing, leads to me kind of not even seeing myself and seeing the work that I do, and that leads to me not appreciating and acknowledging sometimes when I'm receiving gifts, when my prayers are answered, when I'm progressing, and then self-sabotaging, because as like I said, when you're stuck in a mentality of scarcity and you're not evolved to abundance, right, then you will kind of choke, or I mean, you will die of thirst right next to a well, right? You will die of hunger in the Garden of Eden. And I think I almost died of hunger in the Garden of Eden. And that's one of the things that like woke me up. Yeah, thank you, Aventurine. I'm It's unfortunate, right? But thank you, because a lot of it comes from that, right? And I realized that some of my prayers were answered, and I cannot acknowledge that because I was thinking, was functioning, was vibrating from a frequency of scarcity. So trust, I mean, faith being the purest form of confidence, I think is what can definitely help me hate my life less and acknowledge some of the gifts that I have and some of the times when my prayers are answered. And I think I'm definitely learning to hate my life less and appreciating myself, appreciating the work that I do, and acknowledging that these are my choices, these are my decisions. So if I'm going to be here, right, I need to be proud of the fact that I'm here, and I need to work hard at the fact that I'm here, and I need to have faith in my decisions, faith in the work that I do, right? Faith in the work of my hands and faith in my ideas, right? Because some of these things are by choice. So I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm going to choose something and not believe in it. Like I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm going to show up to work. Like, yes, I'm showing up to work I work 14-hour days sometimes. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. But most days I work 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I do 12-hour days almost Monday to Friday, but you don't think that you'll be victorious, or you have a lot of self-doubt in your progress and your process. That's a disservice to myself, and I need to stop doing myself that disservice, right? I need to stop doing myself that disservice, right? So I'm evolving and trying to be more a man of more faith, and I need the kind of faith that is that the definition of faith that is experienced in religion, the faith of the faith that can move a mountain, right? What's the faith of a mustard seed that can move a mountain, right? The faith that can walk on water. Even though I'm not going to base it on religion, but I need that level of believing in the impossible, because to a lot of people, I am trying to do the impossible. I'm trying to build an entire multi-billion-dollar business from the ground up, from starting in the streets at 30 years old. Like, a lot of people don't get it, you know. It seems improbable, it seems impossible, and I need to have faith that I'm going to win, and I need to have faith in myself and in my work and my ideas, right? And that is the next level, you know, of the work that I'm doing, going from living hand to mouth, week to week, month to month, and finding a certain level of breathing room in how I live and how I think and how I process myself and how I process the decisions and how I process the world, so that I can have better ideas, have better clarity of thought, think a little bit more long term, right? Um, and make better decisions overall, because I can see the bigger picture. The bigger picture that is my life, the bigger picture that is what I'm trying to accomplish, and the bigger picture that I guess that is the world, right? And also the bigger picture of the people that I allow into my life also, you know? So yeah. That is generally where a lot of this is coming from. And in the next couple of episodes, I will continue to unpack and express my experience as as I learn to trust the process more, because I don't trust the process. That's the truth. I'm a person that doesn't trust the process. I believe that 1 plus 1 is equals 2. You know, I might not believe. That's why I'm like, I need the faith of the impossible, because I don't believe in the improbable. I don't. I have a strong. I know that 1 plus 1 equals to 2. That's what I believe. I know the sun is gonna rise in the east and set in the west. That's what I believe in. So that's why I know that showing up to work day to day increases my chances of results. But it's like, am I pushing this one hard enough for it to give me a 2? Is this really a 1? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Bird, no, trust that this is a 1. Trust that you are pushing hard enough, because you know that 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So even if I don't trust the process, enough, but I know that, like, consistency does help. Things like discipline does help. So I'm very disciplined in my work. I'm very disciplined in my business. But other aspects of my life show ill discipline, right? Um, and I feel like the ill discipline of those other aspects into my life will eventually show up in my business if I don't deal with them, right? And I know that ill discipline comes from sometimes a lack of faith, lack of belief, and also just like being stuck in scarcity mode and living hand to mouth and living, month to month or week to week. So if I want to really move on to the next level and evolve out of this level into the next, I need to start and stop thinking like I'm in that level and start thinking like I'm in the next level. And I need to start acting like I'm in the next level. And I need to stop acting like I'm in a lower level. So these conversations will be about how we move on to the next level of our lives, how we evolve ourselves, how we grow mentally, spiritually, um, emotionally, so that we can handle um, the gifts that come with billion-dollar businesses, the power, the influence, you know, the attention that comes with the stuff that we are trying to build. So thank you for spending these 13 minutes with me. And the next, again, like I said, I'm not venting, I'm not ranting, I'm thinking things out, right? So the next one probably will come in the next couple of days or weeks, and I'll catch you there.